So coming into today, we're making the graphics, we're getting ready for the show, everything like that. And we're thinking this. Is it over for James Franklin? 3 straight losses for the Penn State Nittany Lions. Was that enough to pull off the nearly $50 million buyout? Would the university make that kind of a decision? Is the grass always greener with a man that has brought you 10 to 11 wins year after year, but can't win the big one? Was this rock bottom for Penn State? Well, our question got answered, and it's a good thing that we waited to do this show. Penn State decides to fire head coach James Franklin. He went 104-45 in his time at Penn State, 64-36 in Big Ten play. The big number here, 4-21 against AP top 10 opponents. And this, Raza, this felt like the first time, though, in a very long time that this team loses 3 straight, and not just losing 3 straight, right? Cataclysmically falling apart. I mean, this is a debacle unlike anything we've ever seen. The fashion in which that they went from that Oregon loss at home, double overtime, came back against a really good Oregon team. Then you followed up with the loss at UCLA, who now looks like a wagon. Go figure.
Yeah, true.
And then you follow it up. Inexcusable. You cannot lose at home in your building against Northwestern. That was enough for the university to make this decision. What are your thoughts?
I'm both shocked and not shocked because the question has been for years now, like, when does Penn State decide to pull the plug? Because of the reasons you mentioned. Like, this is a consistent what's the joke always been about Penn State? They'll go 10-2 every year because they'll lose to Ohio State, they'll lose to Michigan, and they'll beat everybody else.
Right.
And to that point, like in the past, I think it was either 2019 or 21 or something, where like they were a top 3 or 4 team and they lost to Ohio State in the whiteout, and then they lost to Michigan State the next week, like a not great Michigan State team, but still went like 10-2, 9-3. So like, I think you hit the nail on the head when you said this is kind of an apocalyptic stretch of games here, because yes, they've lost consecutive games before, but the 0-4 UCLA, thumbs up. You're right. Thumbs up for UCLA. To lose to 0-4 UCLA and then to lose at home to Northwestern, there was no coming back from this. And I think, Gio, that James Franklin knew that. I'm sure you saw the clip of him after the game, kind of standing at midfield, looking around, taking in the sights of Beaver Stadium one last time, because I think he kind of knew the writing was on the wall. And how can you not? Because again, we said it last week when they lost to UCLA. Oh, they can't win the big one. What happens when they can't win the small one? Well, this is what happens. And they're just not going to continue to put up with this. And I don't blame Penn State. I would have made this decision as well. Obviously, it's not an easy decision to make, but it's the one I would have made. You see that number on the bottom of the screen, 4-21 against top 10 teams. I mean, Gio, I texted you earlier today. Kurt Stignetti in Indiana have more top 10 wins in the last month than James Franklin and Penn State have since 2016.
Crazy.
And it's not for lack of games. They play Ohio State every year. They play all these other big teams.
Look at all the opportunities.
Exactly.
4-21.
25. I mean, that is historically bad. I mean, I think you're the one who said the only coach in history with the worst record in such games is Frank Beamer. Which is kind of crazy to think about. But unlike Beamer, Franklin is not a Penn State legend. They will not build a statue of him outside of Happy Valley. They will not name the street Franklin Street the same way that Virginia Tech has Beamer away.
That's already taken care of by Paterno.
North Carolina.
No, Joe Paterno.
Penn State. That's true. So it's not, and that's plenty problematic as it is, by the way.
Yeah.
It's not.
There's an asterisk there.
Exactly. The university does not owe anything to James Franklin. This is different than Oklahoma State firing Mike Gundy. You know, Gundy was there forever, and Franklin's been here for a long time. But this is a university with really high expectations finally saying, we can't do this anymore. I think the AD statement said it best. Like, they need to go in a different direction to chase championships, both in the Big Ten and nationally. This was a move that had to be made. So I'm shocked, but like, I tip my cap to the decision makers over in State College, because I think this is the right move to make.
I think the big thing about this decision was, first of all, what had transpired to this point. You got to remember, these were probably the biggest expectations a Penn State team has had in at least 5 years, I think.
I would say since 2017, Gio. Remember
Okay.
when they went to they won the Big Ten in
Yeah.
2016. In 2017, they brought back McSorley and Barkley and all those
Right.
pieces on offense.
And that's exactly the year I was thinking of.
Exactly.
Right. So a little over 5 years, right? The expectations were through the roof. I mean, I'll admit I had them going 12-0 in the regular season, winning the Big Ten, and going into the college football playoff as a top 4 seed undefeated, right? Everybody had put those expectations on this team. To go from that to a 3-3 start with losses to UCLA and Northwestern is just mind-boggling. But I think too, the university saw the writing on the wall with what's ahead. Dude, their next 3 games, whether Franklin was coaching there or not, their next 3 games are at Iowa, at home against Ohio State, and then at home against Indiana. They were not winning those games.
With Drew Aller out for the season as well.
With Drew Aller out for the season. Even with Drew Aller, I don't know that I see them beating. I don't think they beat, even with Drew Aller, Ohio State or Indiana. And
Yeah,
I don't know. You don't know what that Iowa game is going to look like. Iowa's got a great defense. It's on the road at Kinnick. Like, I'm not chalking that up as a win.
And they historically struggle at Kinnick Stadium.
And they just lost to UCLA and Northwestern at home. So I'm not saying like Drew Aller in that game does not prove that they're going to go win.
Yeah, it's not like it was a trap game. Like, Iowa could be favored in that game.
But regardless, say they beat Iowa, you were staring 4-6 down the barrel. Period.
Probably.
I don't see them beating Ohio State or Indiana with what we've seen to this point. And maybe they would have. If they would have beaten Northwestern, I thought there was still an opportunity to right the ship. I thought if you could beat Northwestern and to get to the playoff, I thought you had to win out. So obviously you had to win that Ohio State game. We probably didn't realize until yesterday, which we're going to get into it, just quite how good Indiana is either. But there was still a path. You losing at home to Northwestern when you're Penn State and you have national championship expectations on the season, there's just no world where you can accept that.
No. There's no this would be like
St. Pat Fitzgerald Northwestern either.
No. And I was going to compare it to like Dabo, but Dabo's the type of coach you build a statue for if you're Clemson.
Dabo will have a statue.
Like, so it makes sense why they want to ride it out with Dabo down there at Clemson. This was, as far as like difficult situations to cut ties with a longtime head coach, this is about as easy of a decision as you could have made. If you're Penn State, it was just like a matter of it happening. I feel like that's the general consensus when I go on Twitter, people are like, wow, they actually did it, because people are like, they should do it, but we just never thought it would actually happen. So the general sentiment today is, wow, they've actually done it. You got to nip it. And yes, maybe the grass is not always greener on the other side, but if you're Penn State, you have to at least explore the other side.
Right. And we've done this for a long time now. This is not like a small sample size. Franklin's been there for a minute, man. And
Yes.
and this is year after year after, and it was all supposed to build. The recent upswing was supposed to build to this year. And it's
a 9-year operation.
Yeah.
I mean, that win over Ohio State in 2016 on the Grant Haley blocked field goal was what, year 3 for him at Penn State, year 4,
Yeah.
like right after they were on sanctions, right? Like he was meant to be the Lazarus for Penn State. And you talk about the upswing, that upswing has been,
they've upswung a couple times.
Exactly. But it's not been, it's like you swing back and then you swing high, but you're not swinging high enough on the pendulum on the way back. Like they have been chasing something for 9 years now. And if you're chasing something for that long, after being promised, like you said, time and time again, you gotta let it go.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there. I think the only thing that surprised me and even gave me pause about it was the buyout. I thought that there was a world where they wouldn't fire him and it would be a mutual parting ways. They'd find a way to get his buyout down and he would go explore another opportunity. Does that make sense? And I
Yeah.
thought there was a world where that's how that played out, but then you lose to Northwestern at home, and that one game changes everything, because
Yeah.
that's a lot of money to swallow. It's the second largest buyout in the history of college football, only to the 75 million roughly that Jimbo Fisher was given to not come back to work at Texas A&M. Like
Mhm.
this is a monster figure of a
Yes.
buyout here.
But like Jimbo Fisher, in my opinion, the university was left with no choice. You know what I'm saying? Like
I mean, sure.
the
Yeah.
situation at College Station for Jimbo and A&M was, it was like beyond salvation. And while I would hesitate to say that's the case, I mean, I don't know. It kind of is the case for Penn State. Beyond salvation, there's no coming back from this level of just
Mediocrity.
exactly a complete fall off. I mean, it's crazy how much it can change, Joe. 15 days ago, 15 nights ago, really, Patron Allen runs in the touchdown to put Penn State up in overtime, and you're thinking, wow, they're about to
They're gonna
steal
do it.
one. They're about to
Yeah.
be in the top 3. Like Penn State finally, maybe this is their year because they're pulling a win out of their butt like this one, and now the program's in free fall. I mean, you're already seeing decommitments. Are guys going to sit out the rest of the year? Like, even if they're not able to redshirt, are they just going to call it Drew Aller's out for the year? I mean, like, my heart breaks for the players in a situation like this because the coach gets paid 50 mil to leave.
Yep.
The players are screwed.
Yep.
So my heart breaks for the players, and it's going to be a rough couple of months in Happy Valley. Fascinated to see who they go after, when they go after them, what direction does this university and this board want to go in, this athletic department, because they need to nail this hire because they have everything it takes to win at the highest level, but coaching is what held them back for the longest.
We're going to do a whole separate video on it. I think we might bring some guests on for it as well, but man, what a carousel it's going to be. And it continues to evolve, because coming into this year, if you told me that Penn State was going to be a part of that carousel, or even 3 weeks ago, if you told me, to your point, Penn State was going to be part of that carousel, I probably would have told you you're crazy or something went catastrophically wrong. And something went catastrophically wrong.
Yeah, because we all had, I mean, Penn State was a shoo-in for the playoffs.
Shoo-in.
Like,
A
complete shoo-in. Even if they didn't win the Big Ten, even if they had 2 losses, they were going to be there. So, because they had 2 losses last year and we're there.
And UCLA and Northwestern were never one of the losses that were put on here.
I mean, they were, 25-point favorites over UCLA. They were sizable favorites over Northwestern.
Said if they were going to lose a game, it would be Oregon and Ohio State, probably. We didn't even give Indiana a shot.
No, we didn't.
No, what a shame. Anything to wrap up the James Franklin conversation before we move on?
I've been a James Franklin hater for a while. Again, dating back to those big games in the couple of years that followed 2016, the 2017 Ohio State game in Columbus, the 2017 Ohio State game in Happy Valley, the 2018 Michigan game. Like, you know why Penn State started scheduling Minnesota and Wisconsin and Iowa as their whiteouts? Because they couldn't beat Ohio State and Michigan. Like, in those moments, I was like, yeah, Franklin, you're never going to get it done with this guy because he just can't win the big games. And even now, I'm like, this was the right move because you can't win the big one. You can't win the small one either. But I still think he's a capable head coach. He'll probably get a job somewhere. There's still a chance for James Franklin to be a successful head coach in college football. It's just going to have to be in a place with less pressure, less eyes, less expectations. But I think he's a good ball coach at the end of the day. And I'm interested to see what comes next for both parties here.
Bring him to Blacksburg.
I don't know about that, but we will see. And we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it.
Maybe we'll talk about it.